Shut up and sit down.
Welcome. Kane. Sorry to interrupt you there, but I just got...
Whoa. You just... What? What happened here?
I just got an email from our promoters. We've been extended for a year, bro.
We have contracts?
I guess.
We have promoters?
Do you remember that time in Atlantic City, like right before we started the podcast, we got really drunk? Apparently, we signed a couple of contracts there. Ben Sound was all like, yeah, get it all up. Woo.
I thought that was the bar tab I was signing.
I thought it was the bar tab too. But, I mean, whatever. I mean, hooray, I guess. I thought Ben Sound was a free site, though, man. I'm not sure what the promotion thing about. But, hey, here's to another year.
Yeah, that probably explains all the free beer you get.
Yeah, I know, right? I've been wondering. That just shows up on my front door.
Well, that's even more exciting news because guess what, folks? Welcome back to Off the Ropes. I am your man, Kaine, the super hot snooker, and over there from my man from New Orleans, the Faded Saint. And this podcast here is all representing the big stuff that happened in the last few weeks, I should say, give or take, because we had a double Impact pay-per-view this month, and we're going to cover this time around Extreme. X is in the air. Rules. Along with a couple other topics we want to talk about the following after Raw, and between Payback and Extreme Rules, we had some falling out with a couple of WWE superstars we definitely want to address, and some big news if you already haven't been tapped into the WWE Universe about what's going to go on in the near-distant future. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get this Extreme Rules party shown with some pre-cook. I know I brought the sausages and hamburgers. Faded saying, what's going on?
No, nothing much, man. I know... And just programming note, I know I said we were going to probably combine the next two, but there's just too much news. There's too much happened.
Like, too much saturation.
Literally, the next day.
WrestleMania Super Show level long.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus. It was just like the next day, it was just like, oh, well, I guess we're going to have to do another podcast because the shit started hitting the fan. But absolutely, Extreme Rules 2016, and we started off with a, dear God, why is this match still happening? Why is this match still happening? This is the new era, and the new era is giving us the same match over and over again. And what better way to start it off? By Dolph Ziggler, Mr. Bumpmaster 3000 versus Tyler Breeze Jr.,
a.k.a. Boring Corbin.
Boring Corbin. Gosh, shit, it's Boring Corbin. Second straight pay-per-view, they were the pre-cook. This one was
the exact equivalent of the replacer of said U.S. title matches.
And you know, it was a no disqualification match, and you know what? We're all adults here. This match ended the way you thought it did, although I will pause long enough on this on this match to say I thought for sure they were gonna let Tyler Breeze Jr. just be monster heel and just destroy Dolph, but that's not what happened at all. It was a 10-minute long match that ended with a low blow followed by the end of Dorks, and it really wasn't that convincing. They really haven't done him any favors, have they?
From bringing him up to NXT, definitely not.
I mean, Jesus. I mean, that's the theme. That's what I keep saying.
What's so scary, though, Saint, is that he fits the entire checklist of the Vince McMahon hard-on. Super tall, giant size, powerhouse look, mean facing. He's got all the things that Vince McMahon just gets a major erection for.
Cardboard personality.
Cardboard, yep. Everything. And shoulder pads.
And shoulder pads. I don't know. There's not much to say about this match. If you saw the match of the last pay-per-view, is the same one, except there was no disqualification. And Tyler Breeze Jr. with the nut shot and the end of Dorks.
He's been ziggled.
For the win. He was ziggled.
He's officially the sparring partner of Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, God. But that brought us into the pay-per-view proper. in which we got our first look at the Club, Hold the Tomatoes, versus the Usos, Hold the Charisma. And, dear God, the match that we just have seen every week for the last 3 weeks since the last goddamn pay-per-view. And
I'm on top of you, buddy. I'm annoying. That's why I sound weird.
I was going to say this for later, but... Oh, no.
No! Hold on to it. I see it in the picture. Do not do it yet.
Okay.
Do not forget that there's a women's match to talk about.
I know, but I'm not sure if I'm really not sure if I'm going to last all the way to the women's match before I crack open the beer.
Well, it's a good thing we have free promotions.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, I'll hold it off because this actually wasn't a bad match. It was actually pretty.
It's just a Monday Night Raw rematch. That's it.
I mean, they made them look strong, and the story of the match was Gallows and Anderson just kept separating. It was a tornado tag, which means everybody in the ring, everyone's legal, blah 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 blah. And they kept the Usos isolated to where they could never get like their offense off, and they look strong. The problem is that the Usos have already beat the Club twice on Raw. I mean, those are bells you can't unring. I mean, and there's some other nonsense that's going on, and we'll get to that in the second half. But I mean, it was a really decent outing. It was the best outing that the four of them have had. And now, if the Usos could just go away forever, I would be so happy. Because the tag team division has gotten way too crowded, and Usos, your time has come, and your time is gone.
I have to say this, though. I think that what made this match a little bit more outstanding was the fact that it was a tornado tag. So, when it comes to think about it, being that I'm the 6-time tag team ICW champion, you need to have a good co-optitude when it's not a full tag team. Because you know how the Usos are. They're pretty good at cutting the corner, smacking it up, bringing it in. But when you got both going against two giant wrestlers like the Club, there's only a short list, I would have to say, Saint, of people that can survive a tornado tag team. Like, we're talking about APA.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about possibly D-Generation X New Age Outlaws. Like, the list is very short.
Or you better be a damn luchador, and it better be a spot fest. People better be getting some holes punched on their card, man.
Get their airline tickets.
So, yeah, but I mean, it was a good match. The Club went over with their finisher, which they're calling it something stupid, and Maggle Cole.
Beater or something, I don't know.
They called it the Walk to the Gallows or something like that. I don't know what they called it. It was
the Magic something.
It was stupid. Whatever. Stop it, Maggle Cole. Maggle.
You heard me. Pappy Snooker don't like your Maggle.
But the Club over the Usos, and hopefully we never see the Usos again. Ever.
Not gonna lie, as long as Roman Reigns is the champion, Usos have family.
Is it just me, or is it like Roman is devolving the Usos? I don't remember them being this uncharismatic. Like,
listen, Oos.
Yeah.
Oos. I gotta deal with your boring ass.
God.
Well, let's go ahead and move onwards because we obviously have something lingering behind that with the Club. Let's talk about my favorite match. Oh, the match that made you rage quit the last time we talked. Oh, yes. The United States Championship match.
Was the United States Championship title there? I couldn't notice. I mean, this was basically Russell versus Raymond Stereo Jr. And they're basically fighting for the right to John Cena.
Yes, I kind of quoted that for you.
I mean, we knew what was going to happen.
I did.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they've tried to... Here's the thing. Especially now, and this is probably why they're trying to push the U.S. title a little bit more with the news that's coming out later. They need the U.S. title to be stronger. They need to.
Yes, they do.
It's...
Now, I have to say, though, it was still a good match. Like, it wasn't sloppy. The match itself was good. The only thing that sucks is that it's literally a John Cena entitlement to the jobbing level. That's it. That's all we're dealing with. And the thing I wanted to point it out to you, Faded Saint, was is that if anyone hasn't catched Raw last week, they didn't even bother bringing Rusev and Lana out at all for the United States title. So they're waiting literally on the day that Mr. John Cena returns to even talk about Rusev winning the U.S. title at Extreme Rules.
I mean, what can you do? What can you do?
I give you props. The beer can is still not open.
That's not going to last long. I mean, it's the match that you thought it was going to be, and I mean, don't get me wrong. Russell's accolade on Rey Mysterio Jr. looked absolutely wicked.
Yeah, like it was going to take a steaming shit on him.
Dude, he looked like he was folding him in half.
Yeah, steaming crap.
Luchadors do not fold that way.
Like it was an anus alignment. It was nuts.
But Rusev, U.S. title, I guess, was there.
Yeah, it was fantastic. The match was good, but it's just the forecast that we know was
exactly.
If we didn't know that someone was going to get Cena'd, or someone was going to experience deja goddamn vu like Russell is, we'd be more excited about the victory that he had.
This is all playing into one of our points in the second half, but yeah, I mean, we knew what it was. There's really.
Let's just thank goodness that the road to recovery on the IC title definitely held up after that.
Yeah, we were talking about this like during the pay-per-view, how a year ago, and if you go back and you listen to the podcast from around this time last year,
all 6 of us,
it was, God damn it, the U.S. title's on fire. I hate John Cena, but goddamn, that U.S. Open has really done everything for the U.S. title. And it's like, what? And it's like the freaking IC title was the kiss of goddamn death.
Yeah, it was the ICU title.
Yeah, exactly. It was the ICU title.
Was getting hurt.
And now it's reversed. Like, the IC title matches are just, like, fire. But you know what? Let's move past this.
Yeah, I gotta say, this next one we talk about, folks, is the tag team title match between the New Day and the Raw Villains. I'm going to say this right now. I'm not even going to say this. I'm going to provide a physical prop here and say for Xavier Woods, bravo, man. Finally showing yourself in the tag team fold part of it, and did a great job.
Yeah, well, I have my issues.
Go ahead, take it away.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It was an entertaining match. It was a fun match. I was surprised to see Woods show up in place of Kofi. That shocked me a little bit. But, they spent all this time building up the Vaudevillains, and they made them look strong. And then they cut their knees out from right under them. I'm sorry. Xavier Woods took the Whirling Dervish clean and kicked out of it clean. And then he beats freaking Simon Gotch with a goddamn Shining Wizard. Not even like a tag team move. It was a Shining freaking Wizard. It was a B move to the Hurricane. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. There we go.
A meeting would be so proud.
I mean, again, what do you expect? This is what's been going on with the NXT crowd when they come up.
Well, this is also a prime example of how the original writing got defunct, derailed because of an accident that happened in the last pay-per-view. I don't know. We probably would have saw a sweeter match if Enzo didn't get hurt.
Probably. And, hooray for that. But, I mean, dear God, you brought them up. Don't freaking kill them. I mean, they're not credible now. They need a whole new finisher. Because, yeah, the tag team champions kicked out of it, but they kicked out of it clean. Your finisher is garbage. And this is what it's been with the NXT people. And is it any surprise that the NXT peeps don't want to come up?
True.
I mean, would you?
Very true. Very true. I'd be very scared for Bayley.
Who's injured?
What? Breaking news, folks.
Oh yeah, that's what all that was about. Like over on NXT when they did the whole Nia Jax beating the crap out of her. Mm-hmm. She's legit injured. Her knee is legit fucked up.
Like Triple H fucked up?
Not like torn quad, but she's gonna be out for a few months.
Okay.
So there's that. Again, more stuff for later fodder. Yes. But I mean, the New Day over the Vaudevillains. Man, if they had just done this a little differently, I could have stomached this if like somebody had come in to interfere with the pin at the last second. That's all it would have taken for me to stomach this to feel better about this match. But New Day over Vaudevillains, they retain the tag team championships, and they lead us into goddamn the best match of the night.
The best match for the last two pay-per-views.
A legitimate contender for match of the year, but still no, that's still Nakamura, Sami Zayn. In which we got for the Intercontinental Championship, we got Mr. Maurice versus Swedish James Bond versus Sami Zayn versus the best goddamn heel on the goddamn roster.
For the last goddamn decade.
Yeah, and Kevin Owens set a record.
Yeah,
he is the only person in their rookie year to work every pay-per-view in the year. Now they say he
deserves it,
and he does deserve it. And they say the only other one that did it was the Undertaker, but there's a caveat to that. The Undertaker did it when there were 4 pay-per-views a year. So, big ups to Kevin Owens. He absolutely needs to never be a heel or never be a face ever. He needs to just keep healing it up.
It's too hard for him to be that though, even if they tried.
I think it may come to a point where the fans are going to start cheering for him, but he just needs to keep doing his thing.
Well, aren't they cheering for him now?
They are, but I mean, he's just really good at just doing his thing. Like even on Raw a couple of nights ago during that main event match, he yelled at Michael Cole like from the ring. He's like, "I can hear you talking about me." He is hilarious. He's absolutely freaking hilarious. And the start of the match was Sami Zayn doing the haluva kick right off the bat because freaking Kevin Owens was too busy jawing with his wife, Byron Saxton. Was hilarious. And then, Mr. Maurice getting uppercutted out of the ring by Cesaro. And, I want to be angry with the end of this match. I really do. I want to be angry with it. I want to yell, and I want to froth at the mouth, and I want to come at you and just tell you just how much this is a travesty. I mean, this was a wonderful match. This was a beautiful match between 4 guys. They gave them 30, 45 minutes, and they went hard, and there was false finishes, and it was done to a T. And I couldn't be mad at it. I could not be mad at it because of the way the match went. And I was like, all right. Fair play to The Miz. And The Miz won. And he's still the IC champion to the surprise of practically everyone. But, I mean, just, Lord almighty, that was just... People were punching their bump card. People were punching their bump card like they were about to get a free smoothie. I mean, it was insane. Like Cesaro with the 3-way uppercuts. Kevin Owens did the 3-way cannonball.
Everyone was just doing a great spot-on job.
I mean, really, if you haven't seen it, YouTube it, or if you have the WWE Network, just watch Extreme Rules and just watch that match. It's I mean that's all there is to it. I mean, it was the best match of the night, bar none, absolutely, 100%. And it was just one of those things where it was a thing of beauty, and when there's a thing of beauty like that going on, it is a beautiful thing. It is.
100%.
But yes, Mr. Maurice over all the others,
which was a fantastic also heel setup too, because it was a fantastic match, and it ended in a way that you could be okay with it.
Exactly. If they hadn't done them, if the match hadn't been so good, I think everyone would have been more pissed at The Miz winning.
Yeah, but I have to give him a side note. He is becoming a fantastic heel. They are stepping up The Miz.
You know what?
In many ways than ever.
He's always been a good talker because you can believe he's that obnoxious little twerp.
Yeah.
But
he's not wrestling behind it.
But yeah, he's stepped up his wrestling game, and he may have been the weak link in that match, but it wasn't by much. Like yeah. I was impressed with him.
Granted, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Kevin Owens are great at making someone look like $1 million, but you have to give credit to The Miz on stepping up his in-ring performance and the fact that he was able to. One of the best moves also they ever did was bring Maurice back just to be like that antagonizing side manager.
Yep.
And just working that way through.
I mean, it's great. It's working, and I hate to say this, but he's really the second best heel on the roster. Like, I hate to say it because he shouldn't be the second best heel on the roster. But he is.
Well, I can tell you this: he's not the best heel on the roster when it comes to when it comes to making effort. The one who's the best heel that requires no effort is Roman Reigns. Zero effort, Roman Reigns.
They don't have the balls.
No, he's heel.
He's heel, but they refuse to believe it.
He's the new generation's heel, where you're the baby face, but the crowd just fucking hates you.
Which we're gonna. I'm gonna have something to say about that in just a couple of moments. But moving on, next we had the women's title match: Charlotte versus Natalya. And as it says in the notes here. Oh, no, I missed one. Never mind. We actually had... I was actually trying to run over this match because I didn't want to talk about it.
I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, God, it was so long. It was so long. I mean, until the end, it was just like, oh, dear God, make it end. And, of course, we're talking... Of course, we're talking about Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho in the Asylum match, or as I like to call it, the Dear God, how long is this match going to go match.
Forever, ever.
The ending made the match, and if Chris Jericho didn't take that sick bump on thumbtacks, I don't think that we would have thought that this match. I don't think this match would have even been mentioned.
Honorable mentioned either. I really don't think this is going to be a repeat match. But I have to say, once I heard it was the Asylum match and saw all those weapons, I immediately thought of that triple layer cage from fucking WCW. That's how gimmickly crappy that was.
Really, I thought it was a lot like the Clockwork Orange cage match of Doom that Raven created in TNA, who might be moving to another station again. Anyway.
TNA's moving to another station.
The rumor, they don't have like a station yet, but it's a rumor. If you get kicked off of the Pop Network, off of the fucking TV Guide Network, just die.
Just go Lucha Underground.
Exactly.
Tape for like months and months.
But I mean, there was a lot of weaponry, there was a lot of gimmickry. Jericho was his normal self, and, you know, 'tis what it is. Like I said, like this match was just too long, man. It got boring at points. It was a mess. And if Jericho doesn't take that freaking bump, and then, dear God, why would you take Dirty Deeds into the tax like he did? I mean, if you don't take those two bumps, this match is just a disappointment.
And the one thing I have to say is, bravo for this match, though, when it comes to using the weapons. Because the WrestleMania one against Brock Lesnar was goddamn weak sauce. And this match at least used these weapons in a thorough fashion. Yeah,
I never bought it, because the moment they started talking about weapons and stuff, and they started bringing out the chainsaw, which we all knew he wasn't going to use a fucking chainsaw, and Barbie and stuff like that, it's like, Brock Lesnar's not going to take a barbed wire bat shot. Who are you fooling, WWE? Who are you fooling? You're not fooling us.
And speaking of Brock Lesnar, that just want to text back into this. It's been a few months now, not even like an inch of discussion with him. I am super shocked that they didn't talk about a rematch for Roman versus Brock Lesnar. I'm thinking, I don't know if they're waiting for that for SummerSlam. I have no idea.
Everyone's going to cheer for Brock.
Everyone's going to cheer for anyone. I mean, look at what happened at the end of Extreme Rules. The heel got the biggest pop.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and let's move past. I mean, it was Dean Ambrose over Chris Jericho. We'll get to that in a moment. And then was the women's match. Charlotte versus Natalya in the This Is the Reason That Kami Drinks match.
They are really pushing this 4 horsewoman shit down our throats now.
What 4? There's not even 4 of them. It's just freaking Charlotte.
They're making it happen. And when you explain the ending of this match and then what Ric Flair says on Raw, yes, they are really trying to push the 4 horsewomen down our throats.
I'll be honest, I kind of zoned out on Raw, but we'll get to that. So the match was, I mean, it's what you would have expected out of Charlotte and Natalya. They actually put on a good match. And this is becoming a thing with us on the podcast. It was a good match right up till the end.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing was,
song and dance.
The thing was, is that you saw what I posted in chat, like at the beginning of the match. Is like, all right, who's got money on shenanigans happening? And then the moment Ric Flair's music, that was the stipulation, by the way. The stipulation to the match was Ric Flair was not allowed at ringside. Ric Flair's music hits towards the end, and then someone wearing a robe in a blonde wig comes out, and it turns out to be Dana Brooks because,
Didn't we all wish that it was Lil Nate?
I was kind of, it would have made more sense if it had been Little Nate.
I know, right?
But I mean, it's just like, and then that distracts Natalya. It was also a submission match. Figure 8, Natty taps out.
Now, here's my point about the 4 horsewomen going down the throat. Ric Flair foreshadowed that Dana Brooke is supposed to be the next Arn Anderson of this group. Yeah, that's right.
Dude, don't drop something on that one. Taking a drink, man.
Don't die on me.
Oh.
I cannot resuscitate you from where I am.
What?
I cannot resuscitate you.
No. Go back.
Yeah, Ric Flair said that Dana Brooke would be the next Arn Anderson of this group.
Are we in Bizarro World?
I don't know, but that's what I said, this 4 horsewomen thing. If that's the case, who the hell's going to be the tag team that's going to be Tully and what's his name?
Well, no, it was always Arn and Tully who were the tag team, and Barry, well, the other member fluctuated, but the recognized classic 4 horsemen, the ones that went into the Hall of Fame, was with Barry Windham as the 4th. Lex Luger was once in it. Ole Anderson was once in it.
So was the
Sting,
man which I never mentioned, and Dean Malenko.
And Mongo McMichaels.
And Austin.
And Jeff Jarrett. And Paul Roma.
Yeah, let's go.
And Brian Pillman.
We'll stick with the original 4.
Well, the original 4 wasn't Barry Windham, but Barry Windham was when the group was most popular.
The stable 4, yeah.
But at any rate, so I mean,
well, she is a strong woman, but I can't. She's got to get her wrestling game up if we're gonna make that.
See, here's the problem: is that Emma went out with an injury. She's out. She's out indefinitely with a back injury. Surgery's gone well, but there's no timetable. And Dana was coming up to work with Emma because Emma is the charisma in that group. And then all of a sudden it was just like, what do we do? What do we do? Dana Brooks is kind of like Dane Boring Corbin in that respect. Is because they both had done pretty much all they could do in NXT. And they weren't going to get booed anymore. They weren't going to have a face turn, get cheered. They did what they did, and that was pretty much the end of it. But it's just like now she's up there, and she can't hold her own. I mean, she's just going to be another Alicia Fox, or another Naomi, or another Tamina.
I would say Tamina.
Well, Tamina barely wrestles anymore. They've been keeping her off TV since her dad's been getting such bad press. But
and also what's her name? Her partner Naomi.
Yeah, I mean, Naomi, great, but Naomi's a great wrestler. She's just...
Yeah, but I have to say, the only thing the difference between Dana Brooke and Baron Corbin is Dana Brooke actually is more of a team player in the backstage. So, because Baron Corbin's a complete cunt from what I understand.
Yeah. But, I mean, so Charlotte retains over Natalya. So at this point, we've only had one title change hands. And you know what's coming next.
Roman
Reigns, the guy with the wettest hair, versus the internet's favorite Lego Man. And you knew how the match was going to end. You knew what was going to happen. Come on, let's be honest here. We're all adults.
Well, he did have a mental breakdown to try to be the heel. And then they made that correction on Raw. But
no, this is what
broke.
I've got a couple of points here to make here. Point number one. Kevin Dunn is working overtime, editing shit out. Like, he is editing out the boos. He did it at the end of WrestleMania. He did it at the end of Payback. He was doing it coming in, and he was muting them out. They are actually, at this point, going in, and they're like, they'll take like crowd pictures, and they're having someone Photoshop the anti-Roman signs. And nowhere was that more self-evident. There was a Roman sign in the front row that you could see very clearly at times during the match that said, "When it rains, it bores." And then when you looked at the photos on WWE.com, the nearly unnavigatable mess that it is these days, when you saw it there, it just said, "When it rains." And the rest of it had been whited out. They're trying to also cover it up because, what is it, JBL, it's, as they say on What Culture Wrestling, it's John O'Clock. These fans are passionate about Roman Reigns, Mago. I love it. They're trying to do the whole John Cena is the most polarizing WWE superstar that we've had in the last decade, etc., etc. Stop.
We don't believe in your magic, sir.
I mean, it was a good match, but it was a good match. I mean, people was like, hey, Roman had a great match at the last pay-per-view. Who was it against? AJ Styles. AJ Styles is good because he can make anyone look like $1 million. He had a great match.
Especially with that most reversible finish you can give him.
And we're going to get to that bullshit that pissed me off at the end of the match. And on Raw. And practically every fucking other time he steps in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it was a good brawl. They went out to the little pre-show table and he got the crap beaten out of him, and the club got involved, and the Usos got involved, and it was and
then AJ Styles snaps at the Usos and
he just goes
Reigns with the chair crazy.
5 chair shots, a phenomenal forearm, 2 Styles clashes, one of them on a freaking chair, and 1 freaking spear. Roman kicks out of all of them. AJ takes 1 spear, out.
My favorite moment, actually, is when he tried to pin AJ Styles with that super kick-ass powerbomb, and he gives up the wavy sign of the cowabunga sign.
Oh, God, that was so stupid. I mean, Roman Reigns over AJ Styles, because if you thought they were really going to give the best wrestler in the world their freaking title, well, fuck you.
Not yet, at least.
They're never going to do it. And, I mean, just the way they've been treating him. He's got the most reversible moves I've seen ever.
Like I said, that phenomenal forearm.
Phenomenal forearm.
Yeah, but you know what? The phenomenal forearm, at least, is the one that's more dignifying to see reverse, because it just looks so sweet reversing it. Where the Clash just looks like it's just... Like you just want to scream at AJ Styles saying, "Stop putting your hands up in the air before you do this clash."
but the thing with the phenomenal forearm is that yes, it looks really sweet. There are shades of that match. For those of you who are real wrestling fans, you know which match I'm talking about. The Shelton Benjamin Shawn Michaels match, where Shelton Benjamin does that springboard. Looks like he's about to come in for a forearm, and Shawn Michaels gives him sweet chin music, and it was
The best spot ever.
That match.
It's
that
almost like when someone, what's his name, did the shooting star press and Randy Orton Arcado did out of nowhere with it.
Yes.
That much love.
I mean, but here's the thing. It always gets reversed. It always gets reversed. It got reversed at Mania. It got reversed at Payback. It got reversed at Extreme Rules. Every time he goes for that goddamn phenomenal forearm, he loses. It's the crappiest finisher. I am rating right here and now the phenomenal forearm is a worse finisher than the worm.
Yes.
And, well, this is usually the point where we say, and that was the pay-per-view. But it wasn't. Because fans are booing. Roman won. Hooray. And then the fans start cheering out of nowhere. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, Kevin Dunn, you are really working overtime. They are not paying you enough for all of this audio magic you're doing. But as it turns out, screw me, I just didn't see what was happening. And what was happening was Seth Rollins comes in, delivers the pedigree, and the fans go berserker.
Oh, yeah. And he looks so well prepared now. Like, first things first, thank God they got rid of that blonde streak.
Oh, God. That was the stupidest fucking thing
ever.
ever.
So glad they got rid of that. And his new attire looks fantastic. It's like a homage to Triple H with the gray and black, like when he first came out as the game.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks so sweet on him. And he looks so jacked and ready to go. And he did such a great job to say, you know what, fuck you, Roman, it's my turn. I'm getting my belt back. Thank you.
And that's how we left it.
Yeah.
And that was, apparently, and there's one other thing. Apparently, once Seth had left and once the cameras were off, Roman was booed out of the fucking building.
He needs to take a goddamn long vacation.
He needs to take retirement. But that was Extreme Rules. And as we like to do here, we assign a letter grade. You want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You know what? This was a C+ pay-per-view for me. There was not that much dedication. There was a few matches that were good and spotty, but I think I would have gave it a failing grade if it wasn't for that fatal 4-way to IC title.
I agree 100%, but I'm not even gonna give it the plus. It gets a solid C. It was a little bit better than a Raw, but not by much.
True.
And, dear friends, that will bring us to the break. We've got a rather nice song for you, and we will see you on the other side.
Baby.
On behalf of Kane, Snuka, and myself, the Faded Saint, we would like to thank bensound.com for our opening theme, Actionable, and Michette for our closing theme, Picnic at the Reactor. And this week, we have a very special mashup. We have AJ Styles versus Queen. Rock the Phenomenal. Enjoy.
Kicking
Welcome back. I'm your boy, Kami the Faded Saint. That's my boy, Kaine Super What? Snuka. And this week's Off the Rope is brought to you by Jeggings. If you want to look like an absolute tool and somebody's completely and totally destroyed your light bright jacket, wear Jeggings.
And like to go to Urban Outfitters.
And apparently like to go to Urban Outfitters. Jeggings, the official ring gear of Y2J. And as always, remember...
Who paid you? It's supposed to be to the Bible of GOAT.
Yeah, GOAT. Greatest of all time. But remember, Y2J is L'Oreal approved. Because she loves the J.
I swear to God, one of these days, she's going to come back. She's going to come to the place of unknown. I'm just going to find her, and she's going to come after me. Like Triple H did to Randy Orton that day, and that's vignette at the house.
Yeah. She's going to kill us. That's okay.
Laurel is going to kill you.
Exactly. L2J. At any rate. So we got a lot to slag through here in the second half. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through the high points of Raw. We're gonna try and get through these as fast as possible because there's just like a ton of shit to go that's been happening. So straight up, right at the beginning of Raw, we got Rollins coming out, and everyone cheered him, and
the pop was bigger than the pay-per-view.
Do you get the impression that the writers are just at this point just in complete denial? Like they won't turn Roman heel, even though he's getting booed, and apparently they're dead set on Rollins not being cheered.
I think, you know what I think? I think Vince McMahon's got these writers in a room with no TV, no cable, no nothing. And they're like sit in this room, they get fed food, there's a facility there, they sleep there, they never leave this place ever. And then Vince will walk in and say, "Great job with the writing. It went really well," with a winky face, and say, "Continue writing." And they think, "All right," and then keep typing because they think Roman Reigns is getting over with the crowd and everything, and everyone loves everybody, and Seth Rollins is hated, blah blah blah.
And don't get me wrong, Seth pulled it out like a champ.
Oh yeah,
but actually,
they are trying so hard. They're trying so hard. He is so trying so hard to get people to hate him. And
yeah, this actually leads into a question by one of our viewers. My friend Veston asks, "Do we think Seth can carry all the heel weight now that he's back?" We're going to actually discuss this a little bit more in depth later. Short answer is yes. I was not a believer last year in Seth Rollins heel.
I was a little. I enjoyed him.
Yeah, I enjoyed him, but I wasn't. I didn't think he was the believable top heel, and he very slowly won me over. And now that I see what the alternative was with Roman Reigns, I appreciate his heel work even more.
Definitely.
Very much so. So Rollins comes out. He acts like he gives all the fans were writing me letters and stuff, and then I burned them. I ripped them up. I didn't read a single tweet. I hate you all. And
so hard. So tried so hard.
And Roman comes out, and then Shane comes out, and we make it official, like we didn't know. Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank for the WWE Heavyweight Championship of the world. That is going to be the most goddamn bizarre match in the world. Because they're going to boo Roman, who they're supposed to be cheering. They're going to be cheering Seth, who they're supposed to be booing. And the announcers are going to be forced to sell it.
Oh, yeah. Passion for Roman Reigns, Maggle.
I love it, Maggle.
I love it. I love it.
I mean, it was pretty straightforward, though. I mean, Rollins is back. He wants his title back that he never lost, and he got his match for it. Hooray!
I love it, Maggle.
They're also setting up for the Money in the Bank, and the Money in the Bank match. They had 5 qualifiers.
Yep.
The first qualifier was, I believe it was Sami Zayn versus Sheamus.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, was hilarious when there was the one thing that Raw was catching was that Dean Ambrose's girlfriend. I love saying that. Renee Young was going ahead and saying to interviewing all the people prepared for the matches, and one of the things that apparently Sheamus was saying is that he's not an American wrestler. Of all people to say that, like what? Are you hanging out that much with Triple H? Do you think you're American now?
I guess this is backlash from the League of Nations failing. But I mean, and here's the other part of that. Here's the other part of that. I mean, Sami Zayn won. It was a great match. And then freaking Sheamus goes back and kicks the crap out of Apollo Creed because reasons. And which led into the Apollo Creed Chris Jericho match, which was a goddamn car wreck. What the hell was going on? You know, even
to the botch of botching.
Even who we bring up very often on the show, even Meg, even L'Oreal, messaged me and said, "God damn, I'm glad that Chris Jericho put him out of his misery, because that was awful." That was a goddamn awful match.
Like Steven Goldberg all over again.
And we're gonna get a freaking
right.
I just
like Steven Goldberg.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those things where we're gonna get where are we building towards a Sheamus, Apollo Creed feud? Is that where we're going? Really, guys? Really?
I don't know. Apollo Creed. I don't know. He's a fictional character. You mean Apollo Crews?
Yeah, Creed, Cruz. You know, but that will lead us into our next match. Okay, so
I came to play.
So let me go ahead and
just to reiterate, the best. I think one of the best matches that went on right there was definitely the next qualifier, which is Cesaro and Miz. I think that was one of the better ones right then and there. And as far as Raw going and just getting us dry and getting everything pushed out for all the qualifiers need to be done, they did good in a short amount of time. And again, it's because Cesaro knows how to make someone $1 million. And with him stepping up, those were two good titans right there in the match.
Yep, I 100% agree. And it looks like they're trying to set up to eventually put the IC title on Cesaro, but they know that it's in the it's all in the chase, and they know that freaking Miz is doing above average right now. He's doing more than we expect of him.
I mean, when I messaged you, when I saw I said, is it just me or are they making Miz a really good heel?
They are, and I think Maurice has been the missing piece for him, and he's bringing up his game. Can't say enough good things about what's been going on with them.
Yeah.
Cannot say enough good things. Which also led us to, let's see, Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
We're going to save the last qualifier for after the next point, though. So, because who do you think won, guys? Who do you really think won? Let's be honest here. You got Dean Ambrose and you got Dolph Ziggler. Who do you think won? And it seems like
Master.
He did not win. Dean won because it seems like they are in reboot mode for Dean Ambrose. And dear God, I hope that's the truth. Because they need to do... They spent 12 months character assassinating him to feed him to Brock Lesnar. And...
Pretty much.
Now Jericho has been building up.
And of course, yeah, that match was fantastic enough for them to start a new system. So,
I mean, that's the whole thing right there. But, I mean, it was a decent match. It was a Dean Ambrose match. It was a Dolph Ziggler match. Dolph is the best at what he does, and that is take wicked bumps and lose big matches.
Oh, yeah.
And that brought us to yet another reason why I drink.
Oh, the Force.
We're not going. We'll do the last qualifier next because that brings into another point. That was hard to watch, yo.
It was hard everywhere. First of all, nobody wants to see Ric Flair cry. Nobody.
That promo went about 7 minutes too long. Like, it was like, I see what they were trying to do, but then it just kept going. And it's like...
I think that was like the only way they could think of getting Ric Flair not to be there anymore, because clearly they wanted to see how Charlotte could do without Ric Flair as a heel version of Charlotte without Ric Flair. And they did that kind of by banning him from ringside at Extreme Rules.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously now, they're like, alright, since she's good without him, let's go ahead and do the ultimate heel move and make her a complete cunt.
And, I mean, there's really nothing more to say than it was hard to watch. It wasn't really entertaining. It was just really kind of uncomfortable. And
it reminded me of a situation that when you have an elderly parent who's like at the point of their grim where they need to like go into a retirement home, and you just wish them death and get the hell out of there and get out of the house. That was the attitude that Charlotte Flair had that night. And man, did it feel pushed, because she clearly can't do well saying that to her father, who she loves way too much.
it felt a lot in the same vein of that tasteless Reed Flair stuff they were doing last year.
Oh God, don't remind me of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... What can you do? It's just one...
I don't even know.
But, I mean, it happened. Moving on to the last qualifier, which was the internet's favorite Lego man, AJ Styles, versus the best heel on the goddamn roster, Kevin Owens. Now, this was preceded by AJ saying that first of all, they sent AJ out there to say, I'm here to tell you that Roman Reigns is,
the guy.
Is the guy. And everyone booed.
I swears it. He's the guy.
He was like, no, really, guys, he's the guy. And it was like, yeah, we don't believe you, AJ.
He's the dude. He's the dude.
It might have been more believable if they had not done the exact same thing with Daniel Bryant last year, right before WrestleMania, when they were trying to convince us that he could take Brock.
Yeah, that was no.
But boos. Boo forever. And then he sits there... Yeah, and then he says that he would have won if it had not been for the Usos and the club. The club comes out, takes exception, they argue, and now they're not friends anymore. And then they have the match. Now, I thought... I missed the very end of the match, and I thought that they were going to obviously have the club come out and screw him. No. AJ and KO have a really great match, and you want to guess how it ends? You want to guess? You guys want to guess? Because if you've watched this podcast, if you've heard just even before the break my complaints about AJ Styles, you know how he lost. He lost to KO. And you want to know how he lost? He lost going for that goddamn phenomenal forearm. He got super kicked. He got super kicked when he was on the ropes, and then he got the pop-up powerbomb, and it was over. And then JBL was like, Mago, can he be effective without the club? Mago, I love it.
I love it, Michael.
And it was... This is how you treat a guy who, for 2 years running, has been called the best wrestler in the world. This is how you treat a guy who it was considered a coup when you took him from New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is how you treat a guy who could make your product so much better and just give it some legitimacy that has been lacking. And he's on a losing streak. He lost to Jericho at WrestleMania. He lost to Roman at the last pay-per-view. He lost to Roman at Extreme Rules, and now he's lost to Kevin Owens, and he's not going to be in the Money in the Bank, which would be fucking phenomenal if he was in it.
No pun intended.
What the fuck are you doing? WWE, let's bring it in. Let's bring it in right here. Vince.
Zoom in, motherfuckers.
I know you have a certain feeling about talents that you didn't build. And I get it. You're an egomaniac. You're out of touch. You're slightly insane. It has been said that, that McMahons are filled with nothing but hatred and wasps. And I get it, but you need to stop. You need AJ Styles. You need the club. You need them on your roster because you've hit all-time ratings lows. Before the last going into the last WrestleMania season, at the end of last year, one of your Raws pulled a 2.6. Do you know when the last time Raw pulled 2.6 was? Let me put it to you like this. It was back when Phineas Godwin was a thing.
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a name drop.
Exactly. So, I mean, and they've just been burying him. They are systematically burying him, and I can't fucking understand it. All of his moves, except for the calf crusher, are infinitely just absolutely freaking just reversible. The Styles Clash is a joke.
This is where it is. But this is where I would entertain a hopeful glimmer in the light that is going on here. Now, bear with me. This is pure speculation of my theory.
Okay.
Nothing else. But all right, he's on a losing streak. The club is not organized well. They only have his loyalty to AJ Styles, but nothing more. They don't get control. They just have loyalty. So that's why they have no problem.
They don't even have loyalty to him anymore.
Crap out of him, but AJ, they won't listen. Practically, almost. I mean, they obviously he said his words there. But this is my writing hopes and wishes, and of course WWE owe us more money as if it happens. There's only one man to put the club in a fine, tough glue, and that is if they made it a Balor Club.
Do we really trust them with Balor Club? Do we really trust them to bring Finn Balor up? I mean, do we really trust them to bring Shinsuke Nakamura up?
AJ Styles, Gallows, no, leave Nakamura where he is. He's enjoying the fuck out of his spot there.
Which he should, but I mean, Nakamura, again, like AJ Styles, is one of those guys. He's a major deal. He's a big deal. AJ Styles and Nakamura were the top draws in the second biggest wrestling promotion on the planet.
No, AJ Styles is U.S. known legend. Nakamura, you would have to only know New Japan to really say, oh, I know him. People know AJ Styles from all around the world, all around, which is why he was main rostered versus NXT'd.
Right. So, that was Raw. We know where everything's going. There wasn't really a whole lot to talk about there. But now we need to get into some other things here. Some news. Literally, the day after I posted the podcast, there was a ton of releases. And there have been a ton since then as well. A bunch of released wrestlers, which some of them are not really that big of a deal. Hornswoggle, El Torito, Zeb Coulter, who, most of us know, called Dutch Mantel. Wasn't really doing anything. It's a shame. He's a great wrestling mind, but whatevs. And then Alex Riley, who could have been great, but he was injury prone and a rage burns in him or something. Whatever. We knew Wade Barrett was going, and he was gone. And then we get to some really, truly baffling shit. Initially, during the first round of releases, we lost Damian Sandow, who was more over than fucking Roman Reigns could ever hope to be. I mean, granted, Mitch the Potted Plant was more over than Roman Reigns, but I mean,
a lot of inanimate objects are better than the most inanimate object in the world, which is Roman Reigns.
Exactly. But I mean, it's like, what the fuck? Here's a guy who was more over, who the fans were behind, and they loved, and you just never could do anything with it. Like that shit when he was Mizdow was phenomenal. And the crowd was into it. And he dropped the ball. And then he was the Macho Mandow.
Macho Mandow.
And I understand why that got dropped because of the Axelmania and Hulk Hogan and blah, 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 blah. But you really couldn't find it, because he was released because there was nothing for him. With everything that you got going on, was there really nothing for Damian Sandow? You got something for Golden Truth. But you got nothing for Damian Sandow?
That's because they got tenure. They got tenure, and you know what sucks about Damian Sandow is that he he got highlight fucked. Highlighted from Hulk Hogan's issues, highlighted from certain matches. He just got screwed, and that just killed him off bad.
And then we had the other head scratcher release. I mean, also between then and now, Adam Rose was released, and I'm not going to say much about it, but apparently he was fighting he was suspended for a wellness policy violation. He was maintaining that the WWE knew, and he was taking a prescription Adderall that was prescribed by his doctor, and he did everything right. He was fighting it, and then he got into a domestic incident with his wife. There was no coming back from that.
Nope. And there goes the social outcast now.
I mean, there's still 3 of them. Hooray. But, I mean, it's a shame.
You haven't seen or heard them once since this.
They were on Raw, briefly.
Were they? I didn't catch it.
They were in that New Day throwaway match.
Yeah, then no.
It was doing the thing. But, at any rate, and then, out of nowhere, on Sunday morning, before the pay-per-view, Cody Rhodes. Now, apparently, as Cody has put it, because he took to Twitter because the rumors were going rampant, he set everything straight. And he said that for months now, he's been lobbying to go back to Cody Rhodes and to ditch the Stardust gimmick because he wants to be world champion.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him. And they weren't going to do it. And they were going to do it, and then they didn't do it. And he said some pretty inflammatory things, and soon thereafter, yesterday, his wife was released.
Icing on the cake.
And with Damien Sandow and Cody Rhodes, how do you let these guys go? How?
Especially since Cody Rhodes, if he wanted to get back as Cody Rhodes and not Stardust, would have had a great gimmick for like even Dolph Ziggler or even Tyler Breeze, because dashing Cody Rhodes would have been a perfect counterpart against Tyler Breeze.
I agree. But once again, it comes down to you got nothing for these guys. Or you pigeonhole these guys. And yet you're willing to set your executive producer and the edit button out so that you give the illusion that the guy that you chose for champion is over.
Yeah.
Which no one's buying it. He's not.
Nope.
It doesn't make any sense. Ryback is probably on his way out. I know we spoke about some of his issues on the podcast. Nothing has changed, but odds are he's going to be released. He's going to be future endeavored soon. And rumor is Natalya might be gone soon. Not necessarily because of any infighting, but unfortunately we have to report that Tyson Kidd, it seems like that neck injury that he took in a dark match was career ending.
Those damn dark matches, man. It's like it's like the mafia level of pain, career-ending situations for wrestlers.
And with all of these injuries that you've been having, Sasha Banks, man, is out with an injury. Like, Seth Rollins just recently came back from an injury, and so did John Cena. Cesaro just recently came back from an injury. You got all these fucking injuries happening, though. Like, Bayley's out with an injury. Hideo Itami hasn't come back from his injury. Yes, I know this is NXT, but you've got all of these guys who keep going down to injuries. The roster's been more injured lately than I can remember. And you got nothing for these two really hardcore workers. And it's just a crying shame because I'm a big fan of Damien Sandow. I'm a big fan of Cody Rhodes. I hope they can hook up and they can do something in TNA and turn that promotion around or head somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the other kind of what the fuck news that happened out of nowhere.
Spring is coming. They want $1 million systems, so they make it easier for people to pick slots that already been kind of circumvented from the 70s.
So, there's a brand split coming.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody owes us some money.
Oh, yeah.
Because we said this should have happened a while ago.
Bitch better have my money.
So this came this week, just out of nowhere. By the way, SmackDown, which just moved to the USA Network, is now moving to Tuesdays and is now live. And they're going to be another brand split. And there's not a whole lot of details on it. It's going to happen sometime in July, I want to say. So after Money in the Bank. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything goes down. There's going to be a draft. Mm-hmm. But I am for this. it's gonna. I mean, some of my best memories are watching, and SmackDown was always the place for the wrestling. There is a rumor out that the next NXT takeover, auspiciously, is going to be called NXT Takeover: The End. Could NXT be coming to SmackDown, maybe? Oh my God, that is like the heyday of fucking SmackDown.
The rumor mill of anuses.
Like, that's all we know at this point. I mean, I'm for the brand. I'm for the brand split.
Not gonna lie, that gave me a tiny erection.
Now, I don't know how the titles are going to shake loose. I do know that the IC title is more likely than not going to stay on Raw, with the US title going over to SmackDown, which is why all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, we got to do something with this. We can't have Rey Mysterio.
They have to bring some belts. They have to build some belts. 2 world titles I think is a little too much, but they got to bring some belts. I'm wondering if this whole Cruiserweight memorial is happening so that they could retrofit another Cruiserweight title event.
I would be okay with that.
So much money being owed to us. So
much. I think the tag division might be on one side, the Cruiserweight division on the other side. You have a secondary title, and you have like the world. Now they do want a title on each one, but I'm for the world title and the women's title bouncing between the two.
Yeah.
So that's whatever. Now, with all of that said, we're going to get to, and we're going to make this quick, but we're going to get into a small little discussion here, and this is actually a discussion that spawned from my friend, Veston, who gave us that question. He also asked us, how do we both feel about the rumored brand split, which we just addressed. But, yes. So, he watches usually a couple of days after me, and so, watching, he usually throws me some text messages to ask me some questions as it's going along. Cool, whatever. And so he made a poignant point right after the first Raw after Extreme Rules. And he said, literally, where are the heels at?
Where are my bitches at?
And I'm like, I don't know. And we've said a lot about it before. Can Rollins carry the heel load? Yes, he can. He's an excellent. He's a good heel. If the fans will let him be a heel. Which I'm not convinced they are going to, but if they'll let him, then yes. Kevin Owens is the best heel in the company right now. Bar none.
Hands down. Hands down.
Miz is a second. Charlotte is a good heel, but she's kind of like an Office kind of heel. Like, not like Office as in like you're at the office, like The Office. It's awkward kind of heelishness.
Yeah.
It's like she's a heel, but it's just like, that's
she's
great.
She's that friend that you could talk trash with, but then she goes and takes that trash to the same person you were talking trash about. Or
you talk trash and she just takes it just like a little bit too far. It's like, whoa, where's this coming from? But I mean, it's like
menacing.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's that. And it's not to say we don't have heels, but how many of them are fucking believable? I mean, let's go down the list right now, real quickly, as the current heel roster as we have them. We have the Wyatts, injured and dismantled. We have Rusev, neutered with a title, probably Cena fodder. Who else we got? Dana Brooks, ha ha ha. Naomi, ha ha ha. Tamina. Who else?
KO.
We mentioned KO. KO is.
He's mentioned twice, sir.
Yeah. KO is one of the effective heels, but like besides that, like the social outcasts, really.
Yep.
Tyler Breeze, Boring Corbin.
The
really?
Mrs. Jacket.
The Vaudevillains who just got buried by the New Day.
I would say the Mrs. Jacket.
Yeah, the Mrs. Jacket, maybe.
Jericho.
The Dudley. Chris Jericho is a decent heel, but we all know he's not going to be sticking around. He's going to do Money in the Bank, and he's probably going on Summer Tour. And, hooray, he's Chris Jericho. I expect nothing less of him. But really, he's not a permanent heel solution. I mean, that's like Brock Lesnar's a heel, but can we count him? He's not around all the time. And, like, who else? Like, fucking the Dudley Boys, who have just basically been just, like, fodder for Big Cass, and now Enzo's back, so fodder for both of them.
They're really enjoying their semi-retirement.
They are, and, great for them.
From TNA, I mean.
Yeah, exactly. The Ascension? Ha! Like, and the main event, who have we got at the main event who's a heel? The Club? Not really. I mean, people are cheering them. It's not that they're bad at it, it's just people are cheering them. Like, your real heel is Roman Reigns, but they refuse to let him be a heel. And this is the problem. They spent the last 12 months systematically dismantling their heels. The good guys always win, the bad guys always lose. They get no momentum. The Wyatts should have been monster heels. And yet, here we are, 3 years later, and they were buried at fucking WrestleMania in 16 seconds. WWE, I implore you. I understand that, you're PG, and I understand that good must win and evil must perish. And I understand everything that you're trying to do, but bro, what the fuck is the point? This isn't the 80s anymore. You can't just pull just some big dude out and let us, and we're gonna buy it.
Nope.
Your heels need to build. Even back in the 80s, they needed to build.
Yeah.
I mean, even Andre the Giant, when he turned heel, was a significant threat to Hulk Hogan. Even the $1 Million Man was buying off matches and causing Hulk Hogan to lose his title. Even in WCW, no matter how stupid it got, at least the heels were there, were getting some wins, and were a legitimate threat. Who's a legitimate threat right now? Like KO, that's it. The Miz, maybe. KO is actually the only legitimate actual threat that's a heel. And everyone else is too busy trying to be the cool heel, who you'll cheer, but you're really not supposed to cheer. They're really the bad guy. So, what I would like is, for those of you who are hearing this, tell a friend. Go ahead. I'll try and look it up, and I will try and post it in the notes as to where this part starts. But what I would like you to do is, I would like all of you who are listening to this, get on your Twitter. Hashtag where my heels at the WWE.
You're getting out.
Just spread the word. Get your friends to do it. Have them listen to the podcast. I understand that this podcast can be long. Really, if you just listen to this portion, I will be happy. But we need some heels. We need our bad guys. Because without bad guys, the shit's getting pretty stale, man. I mean, am I wrong? I guess not.
Definitely not.
But, at any rate, so we've gone off on our rant. We covered a lot of stuff. I'm actually kind of impressed that we came in as small as we did.
How much does WWE owe us for mentioning the seat?
All of it. They owe us boxes at the Sky Dome in Toronto, and all the beer, and quite possibly JoJo.
Possibly.
Maybe Natty.
Maybe
I'm not saying Natty you should leave, TJ.
We started all, man.
I'm not saying Natty should leave TJ, but I'm just saying.
You know, it'd be so sexy, or should I say, not really sexy, but amazing, is that he even goes, everyone doesn't have a job, and now you have to fight for your spots for Raw and SmackDown.
Oh, that would be fucking awesome. Like, go all battle royal.
God, yes.
I'd be for that. But at any rate, with that said, we are going to go ahead and we're going to bring the podcast to a close. We would like to thank, once again, bensound.com for our opening theme, Actionable. We would like to thank Michet for our closing theme, Picnic at the Reactor. If you would like to ask us a question, if you'd like to comment, if you'd like to just say we're doing a good job, you can find me on Twitter at Faded Saint. You can find me on Tumblr, commysite.tumblr.com. You got a question for either of us? Throw us a line. And we got Money in the Bank coming up next. Let's hope it's a pay-per-view. Depending on the scheduling, again, we may combine Money in the Bank with another pay-per-view. We'll see how it goes.
There's more announcements.
Unless there's more announcements, then we'll be back. But at least Money in the Bank is like 4 or 5 weeks away, so we can breathe. But at any rate, I'm your boy, Kami and the Faded Saint. That is my boy, Kaine Super What Snuka. Saying, we'll see you on the next podcast.
Later, folks.